What if a gigantic ship suddenly appeared right in the middle of the city where you live? People say it is a ship of salvation. Would you believe, or would you laugh at it? Long ago, they did not believe Noah, and then all of them were swallowed by the waters. Take a moment and imagine this. You are on your way to work during the morning rush hour. Cars are packed bumper to bumper. Traffic lights keep flashing. Suddenly, breaking news explodes across every billboard in the city. A massive ship has appeared. Not on the sea, but right in the very center. The crowd erupts. Some people record videos and post them online. Some laugh, saying it is nothing but an advertisement stunt. Others tremble, worried about what might be coming. And you? How would you react? Back then, Noah spent years building the ark. He warned everyone that a global flood was about to happen, but the crowd only laughed. They thought he was insane. They believed the world would remain calm and safe, just as it always had, until the day the first raindrops fell, until the water began to rise. And at that moment, every laugh vanished. Now imagine if it happened again today. If a modern Noah stood in the middle of the street, calling people to climb aboard a strange vessel, would you dare to believe, or would you shake your head and walk away? Science has made us wiser, but at the same time, it has made us more skeptical. We trust in numbers, in data, in evidence, but faith, intuition, how many times have we cast them aside? So now, the real question for you is this. If the ark truly appeared today, where would you stand? With the crowd that mocks, or among the few who dare to step onto the ship? This is not only the story of Noah. This is the story of us, of how human beings face the unbelievable, of the choice between doubt and belief, between temporary safety and fragile hope. So come with me on this journey. Let us see if the ark were to return. Would you have the courage to survive? Remembering the story of Noah, one man, one ship. One ship, one flood that destroyed the entire world. Noah, a man with no power, not a king, not a scientist, just an ordinary man, living in the middle of a noisy and arrogant society. He heard a call, a warning from above, that this world was about to face a catastrophic flood, that everything humanity had built, houses, farms, cities, would all disappear under the waters. Noah believed. He began building a gigantic ship. Day after day, year after year. The sound of hammers, saws, and wood clashing echoed through the valley. But around him, there was laughter, mockery, sarcasm. People walked by, shaking their heads. You are insane. There is no flood that could ever swallow the entire world. You are wasting your life. They trusted in their daily routines. They trusted in the familiar blue sky. They believed that tomorrow would be no different from today. And then the dark clouds gathered. The rain began to fall. At first, just a few scattered drops. Then the rain grew heavier, harder. The waters began to rise. The laughter stopped. Screams took its place. People ran to pound on the door of the ship, but the door had already been shut, not because Noah was cruel, but because time had run out. If you had lived in that time, would you have had the courage to step onto the ark when the whole world was laughing, when your faith made you an outcast? Would you have been brave enough to choose a different path if the ark appeared today? Now, try to imagine this. In the middle of New York, in the middle of London, in the middle of Los Angeles, a gigantic ship suddenly appears. No warning, no clear explanation, just an enormous structure standing tall right in the center of the city. People look up in shock. Some instantly start recording videos. Some begin live streaming. Some smile and whisper to each other. This must be a movie promotion stunt. News spreads like wildfire. Reporters push through the crowd. Scientists show up with their instruments. They measure, they analyze, they speculate. Authorities set up barriers. Police block the streets. Helicopters circle above. The crowd grows larger and larger. Every eye focuses on a single point. And then a voice rises, short, clear. The flood is coming. A few seconds of silence. Then laughter erupts. Another lunatic, another scam. In this modern age, who could believe something like that? But in the crowd, some eyes grow heavy. Some hearts feel uneasy. Some people begin to wonder, what if it is true? Would you run away? Would you turn your back? Or would you step on board? That question echoes, not only at the scene, but inside the heart of every person watching through a phone, through a television screen. Would you run away? Because you do not want to be seen as a fool. Would you turn your back? Because you do not want to abandon the life you know. Or would you step on board, even knowing the whole world might laugh at you? In a world full of doubt, faith has become a luxury. But sometimes that very luxury is the only key to survival. Faith and survival. Put yourself in that situation. If you had only 1 hour to decide, would you choose your family? Would you gather them together, even against their doubts? Would you hold their hands and lead them onto the ship? If you had only 1 hour to decide, would you choose your possessions? The things you spent a lifetime building. Your house, your car, your treasured keepsakes. Would you dare to leave it all? To follow a warning. If you had only 1 hour to decide, would you choose life itself, uncertain, not guaranteed, just a fragile chance, and a single open door? Many people would doubt. They would say, I need more proof. Many people would mock. They would say, this is ridiculous, impossible. But then, when the waters begin to rise, it will already be too late. In that moment, you will realize life does not wait for you to be fully prepared. Life does not sign an insurance contract. Life only asks one question: will you step forward or not? If the ark appeared today, it would not only be a test of the climate, it would be a test of the human heart, of faith, of love, of sacrifice. What would you do when faced with a final choice? Would you run away? Would you turn your back? Or would you step on board? Water floods through the streets. Homes vanish. The city sinks beneath the sea. The familiar roads are gone. The place where you once walked every morning is now nothing but a stream of murky water. Cars are trapped, drifting like abandoned toys. Shops, restaurants, parks, all swallowed. People run, people scream. They cling to anything still floating, but the waves do not choose whom to spare. They take everything, rich or poor, high or low, believer or skeptic. Only one ship remains, one final hope. People surge toward the entrance of the ark. There are cries of pleading, shouts of anger, hands desperately clawing at the wooden edge. But no one knows who will be allowed inside. No one knows when that door will close. No one knows how much time is left before the waters consume everything forever. Is Noah's Ark just a legend, or is it a warning for today? Chaos spreads. Skyscrapers become lonely islands. Neon lights still flicker under the rain. Electronic billboards keep broadcasting news, alerts, and pleas for calm. But below, the sea of humanity is in panic. Parents clutch children in their arms, screaming for each other in the flood. The elderly cling to light poles, hoping someone will pull them up. Groups of young people still laugh, still live stream, still post photos, until the signal dies completely. What would you do in that moment? Whom would you save? Whom would you leave behind? On television, drenched reporters stand in the raging flood. We are witnessing an event unlike anything before. Then the signal cuts. The screen goes black. On social media, the final messages appear. We are going to be fine. Is anyone still out there? Please pray for us. And then everything goes silent. Inside the ark, those who stepped aboard peer through the cracks of the door. They tremble. They hear the pounding of water against the wooden walls. They hear the cries outside. They hear the silence, heavier than any sound. Some cry, some pray. Some just sit still, eyes staring blankly, as if no longer able to believe in anything. Can you imagine yourself sitting there? How fast your heart would be racing. Who would you think of in that moment? Outside. The waves keep rising. The waters swallow wooden houses, then concrete buildings, and even steel bridges. Cannot withstand the force of nature, a modern city, advanced technology, early warning systems, all now powerless. The structures humanity once took pride in, made small before the endless waters. We once believed we had control over everything: meteorology, dam engineering, satellites forecasting storms. But when the great flood comes, all those names mean nothing. The water does not care who you are. The water does not care how prepared you are. The water only knows to take away. And in that moment, the question echoes again. Will you run away? Will you turn your back? Or will you step on board? Many chose to run. They climbed onto rooftops, hoping the waters would recede. But the waters did not recede. They climbed onto trucks, believing the steel would hold. But the steel was swept away. Many chose to turn their backs. They refused to believe. They thought it was only a storm. They thought they still had time, but time belongs to no one. And there were those who stepped on board. They were mocked. They were filmed, called blind. But now they are the only ones left to see tomorrow. The roar of rushing water never stops. The wind howls through every gap. Metal groans as great bridges are torn apart. The water is no longer just flowing. It roars, it breaks, it devours. Skyscrapers, once the pride of humanity, now stand like lonely pillars in the middle of the ocean. The lights above still shine, but below, there is no one left to see them. A city turned into a memory in the blink of an eye. Inside the ship, every gaze is fixed outward. No more laughter. A little boy clutches a soaked teddy bear. His mother gently pats his back, eyes red with tears. An old man whispers prayers, his trembling hands resting on his knees. A young man who only minutes ago argued online about conspiracy theories now sit curled up, unable to speak. Faith is no longer a distant idea. It becomes breath itself. It becomes the only choice. Out there, the roads turn into rivers. Bustling markets become swirling whirlpools. People swim in desperation. They cling to one another, only to sink together. Hands rise out of the water, begging for help. But no one has the strength to pull them up. The sound echoes, then vanishes. Can you imagine it? One day you drink your morning coffee. One day you squeeze onto a crowded subway to work. One day you meet friends for dinner, and then, in just a moment, all those routines are erased, everything reduced to a single question: will you survive? The water crosses national borders. Q. It does not know boundaries. Q. It does not need a passport to sweep through cities. Nations once confident in hydroelectric dams and flood control systems can only watch. Weather maps cannot update fast enough. Emergency meetings lose all meaning. Because when nature decides to take back, it takes everything. On social media, someone still tries to livestream. A handheld phone, the image shaking, the sound of rain drowning out voices. We are trying to find shelter, if anyone can still hear. Then the screen goes black. In our collective memory, these images will remain haunting. No one can erase them. No one can deny them. And when this memory is retold, will the next generations call it legend or truth? Inside the ark, those who stepped aboard still cannot fully believe. They do not know if they are truly safe. They do not know how long this journey will last. They do not know if anyone out there will survive tomorrow. A child asks, "Mom, are we going home?" The mother does not answer, because she herself does not know if home even exists anymore. The waters reach the countryside, fields drowned in the sea, livestock floating, trees uprooted, small villages reduced to faint shadows beneath the surface. The farmers have no time to escape. They climb to rooftops, lighting fires for help. But the rain quickly smothers the smoke. Temples, churches, cathedrals, no matter how tall, cannot withstand the waves. Statues collapse. Sacred pillars break in half. Places once symbols of faith, now only rubble. But on the ship, faith still lives. Do you see the irony? Faith was once mocked. Faith was once called foolish. But in the end, faith is the only thing keeping people alive. So is Noah's Ark truly just a legend? Or is it a reminder that there are things beyond human wisdom, yet they save humanity? The rain falls without end. Day after day, the sky holds no light, only thick darkness. The ship sways on the waves. Those inside sit close together. They share every drop of water, every piece of bread. They learn to listen. They learn to endure. They learn to believe that, even though chaos rages outside, inside, there is still a chance. And in that silence, the question rises once more. Is Noah's Ark truly just a legend, or is it a warning for today? The waters keep rising, unending, unresting. The gray sky spreads overhead. No more sunrise, no more sunset. Only one endless shade of gloom. Those still outside climb the highest mountains. They gather there, hoping the highest ground will be safe. They pitch makeshift tents. They light fires, praying the flames can withstand the storm. But the rain does not stop. The wind does not rest. The mountains are not high enough. The peak that stands today will vanish beneath the waters tomorrow. On the ship, the air is heavy. No one speaks much. Everyone sits quietly, listening to the waves pounding against the hull. Every strike a reminder. Out there, the entire world is gone. Some break down in tears. Some pray. Some close their eyes, picturing ordinary mornings. Warm sunlight, birdsong, the smell of coffee. Those simple things now feel like luxuries. A young man whispers, "I wish I had believed sooner. I wish I had not mocked. I wish I had taken more hands, pulled more people along." But those wishes cannot change anything. Out there, the flood is not only sweeping away cities, it is sweeping away the memory of humankind. Paintings, statues, monuments of knowledge and art, gone in an instant. Centuries of civilization, reduced to meaningless fragments at the bottom of the sea. Humanity once took pride in technology, in wisdom, in knowledge. But all of it is only dust before the power of nature. Do you feel the chill? If tomorrow, everything you saved, everything you built, disappeared overnight, what would you have left? In the darkness, someone on the ship begins to sing softly. A familiar melody, trembling yet steady. The fragile voice spreads. Another joins in, then another, until the entire cabin fills with song. The singing does not stop the rain. The singing does not drive back the waters, but the singing keeps hope alive, reminds them they are still breathing, and sometimes that alone is enough to go on. Another night passes. Thunder cracks the sky. Waves slam harder against the ship. The vessel groans, tilting as if ready to break in two. People cling to one another. Children cry out. Adults grit their teeth, enduring. An old man whispers, "We will make it through. If Noah survived, then so will we." That is not just faith. It is the fragile thread keeping them from collapsing. Outside, the last mountain peaks vanish. No ground left to cling to. Only the ship drifting in the endless sea. And then humanity begins to understand. It is not houses. It is not cities. It is not monuments. It is the choice of faith that has kept them alive until today. Amid the chaos, one question still echoes. Is Noah's Ark truly just a legend, or is it truly a mirror, a warning meant for us? Long ago, people laughed. Today, we laugh too. But are we really any different from them? Can you be certain that if you stood before the door of the ark, you would not hesitate? Can you be certain you would not doubt, would not delay? Can you be certain you would step aboard when everyone around you called you insane? The waters keep rising, time keeps moving, the ship keeps swaying, and the human heart is tested every minute, every second. In that silence, you will ask yourself, if it were me, would I survive? The waters have not stopped. The sky has not brightened. The world feels trapped in an endless dream. The ship drifts slowly across a boundless ocean. No destination, no map. Only the fragile belief that to be alive is to still have hope. Inside, people slowly learn how to live in the darkness. They share every piece of dry bread. They share every sip of precious water. They share even whispered words of encouragement. A mother tells her child a story. It is no longer a fairy tale. The story is the present itself, of a flood, of a ship, and of hope, that one day the light will return. The child listens, eyelids heavy. He falls asleep, peaceful in his mother's arms, while outside the storm rages on. That small moment keeps the flame alive for everyone in the cabin. But not all can endure. Some cry out, "Why are we here? How can we be sure this ship will not sink? How can we be sure we have not been deceived?" Arguments erupt. A few stand up, pounding on the wooden walls, demanding the door be opened. Others have to hold them back. The real storm does not come only from the floodwaters. It comes from inside the human heart. And that is the fiercest storm of all. Does it feel familiar? Even when disaster strikes, people still argue, still doubt, still cannot completely trust one another. But then, in the chaos, someone begins to pray, a short prayer, yet enough to quiet the anger. Everyone falls silent. They breathe. They sit back down. And once more, they remember they are here. Together, outside, the waves keep striking, but the ship still holds. As if an invisible hand is steadying it. As if faith itself is what keeps it afloat. Every gust of wind, every crash of the waves comes a reminder. You are alive. You still have hope. You still have a chance. Then, one day, after countless days and nights of storm, A fragile ray of light pierces the clouds. Everyone on the ship lifts their heads. The light is faint, but it makes their hearts tremble. A child shouts, "The sun, Mommy, the sun is there." The light glimmers across the vast waters. No one knows when the rain will truly stop. No one knows when land will appear again. But they know. This painful journey is not meaningless, because they have learned what the old world forgot. The old world forgot that humanity is small before nature. The old world forgot that wealth, status, technology are only thin paint against the wrath of creation. The old world forgot that the only things that carry us through are love, sharing, and faith. The ship does not only carry survivors, it carries memory. It carries a lesson. It carries a message for the future, and that message still echoes today. Is Noah's Ark truly just a legend, or is it a warning? A mirror for modern humanity in the midst of new crises: climate change, pandemics, wars, division. Are we really so different from those long ago? When we hear warnings, we laugh. When we see what is unusual, we doubt, we hesitate, we question, and too often we are one step too late. The waters still flood the streets, homes still vanish, cities still sink beneath the sea, but above the waters, one ship still drifts, one ship, one last hope. If tomorrow that ship appeared before your eyes, what would you do? Would you run away? Would you turn your back? Or would you step on board? Noah's Ark is not just an ancient tale. It is a reminder that humanity is fragile before nature, that every choice determines destiny. Do you remember from the very first moment when Noah began to build a ship in the dry land? The steady pounding of hammers, the sound of wood joining together, the laughter of mockery echoing everywhere. People did not believe. People ignored it, and in the end, they were swallowed by the waters. Today, we trust in data. We trust that we are strong enough to resist nature. But look around. Unusual storms, tsunamis, wildfires, climate change growing harsher with every year. We are still as fragile as ever. If the Ark truly appeared today, what would you do? Would you stand in the crowd, raise your phone, live stream, and smirk with sarcasm? Or would you stop, listen, and step forward? Would you cling tightly to your possessions, terrified of losing what you worked a lifetime to build? Or would you understand that all of it is only temporary? Would you hesitate, waiting for another sign? Or would you dare to believe in something beyond human understanding? That question is for you. Today, this very moment, because every day in life we stand before doors, a door to step through, or to turn away, or to doubt, a door to believe, or to live, or to miss out. Noah's Ark is not only a wooden ship. Noah's Ark is a symbol of choice, a symbol of hope, a symbol of faith in the middle of doubt. You may think this is only a myth. You may say no one can prove it. But ask yourself, why has this story lasted for thousands of years? Because it is not only about the past. It reflects the present. It stares straight into the human heart. And it asks a question no one can avoid. Will you step on board, or will you miss it? Look back at the journey we just took together from the first moment, when a massive ship suddenly appeared in the city. You pictured the flood sweeping everything away. You heard the cries. You saw the final light piercing through the heavy rain. All of it not to frighten you, but to remind you how fragile life really is. We think we are in control, but in truth, we are only borrowing land, borrowing sky, borrowing time, and one day, all of it will be reclaimed. Noah's Ark is that reminder that nature owes us nothing, that life guarantees nothing, that every moment is a chance to choose. So how will you choose? To believe or to mock, to step forward or to turn away, to live or to miss out. Perhaps you will never face a literal great flood, but you will face other floods in your life, loss, crisis, moments when you feel everything has collapsed. When that day comes, where will your ark be? Who will call you to step aboard? And will you have the courage to listen? Noah's Ark is not only a story of the past, it is a mirror for today and a question for tomorrow. If the ark truly appeared today, would you step on board? Or would you miss it? If you want to uncover more hidden truths within the Bible, click subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because there are many stories you have never heard. Stories of beginnings, stories of downfall, stories of hope, stories that may change the way you see your own life. Let us continue this journey together, because life waits for no one, and because there are doors that open only once. Do not miss them.